Hello everyone, I'm Carissa, here with me Elaine. We are here back at our project analysis series.
Hi everyone. Yes, so the last video that we have done, the analysis was actually the Robertson Opus, which is a 999 leasehold. And today we're going to touch on to another new development that is going to be preview. Actually, it's on the 5th of July, and so therefore the booking date likely is going to be 19th July.
As seen as
The Robertson, yes, correct. So Upper House and Robertson Opus, they're going to run their preview at the same time. Yeah, so today we're going to do our analysis on
Upper House.
Mainly, I think Upper House, one of the attractive point is definitely the address. Okay, so like one of the tagline they actually mentioned is actually an address that says it all.
So it's just right beside the Orchard shopping belt.
Yes, over
So
here.
it's really the heart of Orchard Boulevard.
Correct. So the project is over here lah. Upper House is actually over here.
So beside will actually be Chatsworth, we have Nassim, then of course across is Nassim Mall Park.
Actually, it's all the very sought after address that we all know in Singapore. Yeah, in the really this Orchard area, the central area. Okay,
Exactly.
so this is actually the location. And of course, being in such a good location, the location and the nearby amenities listed all here. Like for example, actually we are very close proximity to Botanic Gardens.
Yeah.
So maybe some of the stacks may have a little bit of the garden greenery
Yes,
views
I think
on the higher floors.
Yeah, I think when I did it, right, I saw there were some of the views they have. They
Towards
do
the
have
direction.
Botanic Gardens, yes.
Yeah.
Towards this direction. North-west facing, I think, if I'm not
Okay.
wrong. Yeah.
Then of course it's like just downstairs you have your Tanglin Mall, and a few minutes walk you'll be walking to the whole of the Orchard Belt.
Oh, just imagine you're living just beside, like few minutes. I'm at Orchard, Ion.
So you meet all your, like, whenever your friends call you, hey, where are you? I'm at Orchard. Where are you? I'm at Orchard. Right? Exactly. Okay, so these are some of the artist impression of what Upper House is going to have. Definitely a very grand arrival hall.
Yeah.
And then like we mentioned, it's actually a high-rise building.
35 stories.
35
right?
story high.
Yeah. Later we will go in depth into the site plan, or of course
information.
the elevation chart and everything.
So these are some of the surroundings that we can see what are the different kinds of facing.
On the next slide itself, we can actually see that it's facing towards the Botanic Gardens. And on the right, we can see, of course, we have views towards the Orchard Boulevard. And on the back side will actually be, which is the south, will actually be some low-rise landed housing.
So some of the stacks will have pretty good facing lah. Actually, this is from developers showing us potentially what are the views. Like just now you mentioned towards this northwest facing.
Yeah.
Yeah, towards the Botanic Garden, right? It will be on higher floors, will be something like that.
Yeah.
Some of the nicer views. Correct.
And then off east facing will actually be Greens of Pocket View and
Something like that.
yeah,
Landscape.
and the cityscape.
And then we have definitely this one will be just now what you mentioned, the other side of it, right? Is more towards the low-rise landed.
Southeast side. Southeast side, which is also the bigger units, right? The 4-bedroom are all there. And basically they also have 2 collections. Later we will also touch on that. Yeah.
Correct. We're going to show the site plan elevation chart. Okay, over here, just want to highlight that from the second story onwards, it's actually already a 30 meters elevation from first story.
Oh,
That's the fact that they are 35 story. So it's very
35 plus. 48 above.
Yeah.
Your 35-story view is almost about the 48-story view.
So this is actually the site plan showing definitely some of the facilities that they have over here. The lab pool facility. We're not going to
Go so much in there.
Alright, if you need the project information, just let us know and then we can send it to you. This is actually the elevation chart that shows that the highest floor is actually 35 story.
Yeah. So the lighter pink ones are the 1+ study, which is 2 stacks basically in total. And then of course we have the 2-bed premium, which is the lighter green one.
This one
Yes,
lighter
which is 700 square feet. And then we have the 2-bed premium plus study, the darker green, which is 764 square feet. And of course, 1 stack of 3-bedroom, 1012 square feet, and 1 stack of 4-bedroom.
So if you realize the 3 and 4 bedroom actually it's only 1 stack each.
Yes.
The supply of the bigger floor plate is actually much lesser.
Yep.
Okay, so project information, developer,
Is developed by OL.
the land size of about 75 over 1,000 square feet, then plot ratio of 3.5, that's why you have the high rise. Okay, 99 leasehold. So this is actually one block.
Commercial.
There's actually some commercial at the first story, and also like what we have been saying, the 35-story apartments.
Yeah.
Total of 301 units. So just now what Carissa has mentioned, there's actually 2 different collections. One is actually the signature, which the majority of the units.
Yes, correct. It's only the bespoke that is 4-bedroom.
This one, right?
Yeah. So actually in the showroom itself, right, they also do show both of the collections. So if you want to have a comparison, exactly what is the difference
different type of finishes?
Yeah, correct. Between the signature and also the bespoke, you can just contact any of us to head down to have a look.
This is also what we have mentioned just now. If you look at this, the distribution of the units, right? 3-bedroom premium is only at 34 units, and the 4-bedroom is actually 31, so one stack each line.
Exactly.
So looking at this, right, actually the 4-bedroom starts from, I think if I'm not wrong, probably on the 5th floor instead of the 2nd floor.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So slightly lesser units, 31 instead of 34. We are actually showing this map again. Yeah, if you have seen our Robertson Opus analysis video, we also show this map, and then now we are showing this again. Why we keep showing this thing?
Because I think a lot of buyers, right, they do have concerns. Hey, should I go for Real Valley or should I go for, let's say Upper House is coming up, they might be confused or what kind of price point is actually each individual is a ideal price point in a way, or it's a correct price point to enter, or also they want to know, hey, what kind of price difference are we looking at, or what kind of price gap.
Correct, because the way we look at it, right, so we have Robertson Opus and then we have Upper House, and the rest of it, like for example River Green, and then we have Promenade Peak, we're gonna have Grand Zion, yeah, so all of these, right, to us it's like, if we were to group them together, it's all in the central area.
Yes.
But then we also know that central area, there's going to be a lot of different, there's going to be a little bit of division among these areas.
Correct.
So today if I look at River Valley, or today if I look at Orchard, is there actually a price difference? That is something that we need to identify.
Yes.
So if there is, so what then will be a fair gap to identify today, be it if I'm going for River Valley, or if I'm going for Zion, if I'm going for Orchard, what is actually a fair gap, a price difference that we should be able to accept to,
correct,
in order that the acceptance price lah.
Yeah, because to be honest, it can't be like River Valley and Orchard is the same price.
Yeah,
point, right?
Definitely can't be.
So but then again, what is a fair gap?
Correct.
Mention
Yes.
that in terms of if you're looking at any of the plots, let's say if you're looking at River Green, any of the plots in Zion, what are they offering and versus Upper House, you should have a gauge and comparison. So in this video, we will actually list down all of them.
So because of that, we actually take case study as a reference.
Yep.
So again, we always want to take case study because that's how we have seen the transacted, accepted price, and that's how we derive the difference in the price gap.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
So first case study that we are looking at is actually Avinia, which is D9, and actually Boulevard 88, which is D10. So why these two projects? Because both of them are actually freehold. So we want to do a fair comparison, freehold versus freehold. Okay. So over here, Avinia, what has been done, transacted and accepted in terms of the initial launch price.
Yes.
Alright. The per square foot price is around that 27-ish. So that's for Avinia. And then for Boulevard 88, right, is actually the starting price that it was launched was actually around 3,003-ish. So that means to say, Avinia, which is in River Valley, right, in D9, River Valley area, and versus Boulevard 88, which is definitely in Orchard Boulevard, what has been transacted and accepted in terms of the price gap is already a 24.3%.
Yeah.
Based on the initial launch pricing.
So this was about 3 to 4 years ago. So based on then, the gap is already 24.3%.
Okay, so this is first case study. So the next one.
So second case study will actually be Riviera, and also this one is actually at D3.
District 3, yes. Riviera is actually at District 3.
So now we are comparing it to 19 Nassim, which basically the address tells us all is at
Jalan Imperial.
Yeah, correct. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we are comparing between the 3 bedrooms again, looking at the launch date in October 2020. Is at 2361 for the 3 bedroom. Then now if we look at 19 Nassim, right, 3 bedroom, also 2020 August, right, it's actually already launched at 3004. Yeah, so now we are looking between D3 and D10, a price gap of 44%.
So why are we using Riviera D3 instead of earlier on just now we were using a D9, right?
Yeah.
This is also to let us better understand the later upcoming, let's say for the D3 developments, the Zion area. If I were to compare that with the upcoming, potentially the Orchard Boulevard area, what is the price gap?
Let's say for example, because I think Upper House will launch first.
Yeah.
So you can compare it backwards towards the other upcoming plots.
Correct.
Is River Valley.
So this is the summary of it. So the first case study example is actually a 24.3%, and then the Riviera versus 19 Nassim is about 44%. So this is the part you were talking about, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this one.
Correct. Yeah. So if let's say now Upper House, we know the launch price, or roughly we know what kind of price indicative the developer is offering, then we compare backwards towards the other upcoming launches, then you will know whether is this a a competitive or is it a safe get to enter into the River Valley area?
Using this percentage as a reference lah. So if let's say for example, now that upper house is upcoming first so likely we're gonna have the pricing first. So for example, we know this upper house pricing, and then later on when Zion plots are out, we do a comparison in the pricing, we have the percentage gap, we'll be able to identify from there, is this actually a fair gap? Whether is it okay for the buyers to actually accept this gap. So now that we understand that yes, it is actually a fact that although it's everywhere, everything is in the central area, but it's also a true fact that prices in the Orchard Boulevard area, definitely in terms of the price difference, there will definitely be a bit of the price difference.
We just want to have shown put it this.
Correct, So it's still a different address, right? Okay, so now we have understood the price difference. We want to look at the different unit type analysis in detail.
Okay, sure.
So we start with 1+ study.
Yeah, we start with 1+ study first. So basically there is only 2 stacks. Okay, so 1+ study at 474 square feet, stack 2 and stack 3, which is facing the south east view. This view. Okay, looking at the floor plan itself, it's pretty much standard for 1+ study. Study is tucked at the corner, which is, I would think, ideally good because at least it's at the corner.
There's a separation.
Yeah, there's a separation, correct. And then pretty much standard, you have a Jack and Jill master bath, so that if you have guests or whatever, they can still access to the bath. And then long kitchen, you have a designated site for dining. This space I think will be ideal.
Pretty standard for 1+ study. Actually, the view not bad for the smaller unit. It's not bad.
Because I have seen some of the units in the resale market for this area, right? The view is really pretty good. Like for example, Cascade.
Cascade Reserve. We're going to use that as a case study as well.
Correct.
Okay, so for 1+ study analysis, again, we like to use case study because that's how it's going to be a fair comparison of what has already been the accepted price.
Let's say we are keen in one of the units, what is a safe gauge for us to enter? Okay, but of course, based on 19 Nassim, based on our case study, right? We have a 1-bedroom at 538 square feet, already transacted at 2 mil.
Okay.
Over here. Then we have a 1+ study, 678 square feet, transacted at 2.12 million. Okay, but again, now I need to emphasize, this is a non-harmonized project for 19 Nassim, but yet this upper house is actually harmonized. So how do we actually determine a harmonized project and its PSF?
So because you want to have a fair comparison, right? Correct. So if you have seen some of our other analysis video, right? Because of the recent ruling of the harmonization of the gross floor area, so certain areas they are no longer able to be considered as a strata area. So of course there's actually a bit of the different guidelines. But one of the most obvious one is like, for example, the aircon latch is no longer considered as under the strata area.
Correct.
So that means to say 19 Nassim based on 538 includes the aircon latches.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
But for upper house 474 square feet of the 1+ study, it excludes that.
Yes. Yeah. Correct. So how do we determine and how do we
make the size same?
Correct. 19 Nassim harmonized in a way.
We harmonize it ourselves.
Yeah. Okay, so in our next slide, we will actually show you so that we can roughly know actually what is a fair price. Okay, so example, if 19 Nassim is harmonized, what will be the actual PSF, right?
Okay.
So we will take the 1-bedroom as example today, because it's 538 square feet and it's closer to our 1+ study, which is 474 square feet. Okay, so transacted at 2 mil is at 3,716 PSF. Okay, so say for example, if it's harmonized, okay, so basically with the aircon latches, right, if it's non-harmonized, is roughly about 6 to 8%.
Okay.
Yeah. So now we are taking a 7% in the middle
and
as a gauge. Yeah.
Okay.
As a gauge. So say for example, 538 minus of 7%, which is the aircon ledgers, it brings us to 500 square feet.
So the actual livable space is 500
square feet. Yeah. Correct. So suppose if let's say it's 2 million and it's so-called harmonized already, this is what we are looking at.
So the per square foot becomes higher because the size gets smaller.
Exactly. Yeah. So to be honest, if you have looked at most of the project that's harmonized, right, most of the time the PSF is most of the higher, right?
Right.
So that is why
The reason why it's higher.
correct,
Yeah.
correct.
The smaller area.
So what would actually be a good gauge for upper house?
Okay, I ask you, Carissa. So today, if I will look at upper house or 1+ study, what is the price that you recommend me to look into if I want to get a unit?
So now I will take the first calculation. So I will take, instead of 2 mil, I will just take 1.9 for example. A possible price tag at 1.9 to divide by 538 square feet. And then times the size, roughly I'm looking at 1.671 million.
Okay, for upper house of the
1.67, yeah,
Okay.
1.67 million. Yeah. But of course, the recommended price we're looking at, right, is actually ranging between 2,950 to actually even 3,500.
We are actually expecting, right, the initial price may be around that 2,009-ish.
Yes, because it's 35 stories. Yeah.
Because of the 35 story, that's why there's a possibility that it can actually go up to about $3,300 to up to even $3,005 per square foot because of the 35 story lah. That's how developer actually will add in the premium for each per floor jump.
Yeah. Of course, based on the view, because of course, like we mentioned earlier, the 1+ study, the view is not bad.
Yeah.
So if let's say, I would say that even if it's starting from 2,950, I mean, this is, don't quote me, but this is not quote by the developer. I'm just giving a price range that I feel it might be possible. So let's say if it starts from 2,950, we are looking at the range of about close to 1.4 million.
So that means to say, right, because you already understand that, remember just now we were saying that there is actually a price difference, ma. So assuming if 19 Nasim, the transacted price accepted is at 4,000, that means to say, right, actually if today I were to look at upper house, anything below 4,000 is actually considered a very fair price because this is already what has been transacted. But of course, we are not suggesting to go up to 4,000. So that's why our suggested price, actually in fact our recommended price, if let's say we can get something around that 2.9-ish range, definitely for the lower floor, at 1.4, even the quantum at 1.4 is actually something which is very acceptable because for 19 Nasim, one bedroom is actually transacted at 2 million.
Yeah, even if it's non-harmonized, right? Like the PSF itself is already 3.7 for 19 Nasim.
Right.
Yeah. So if today for upper house, if you're looking at the range of between 3.2 even 3.3, I think it's a very fair or reasonable.
So I think more or less our recommended price will be around this area because we are also looking at potentially if it's getting 1+ study, maybe more for investment. So in terms of our recommendation for the total quantum, we still want to keep it to a certain comfortable level.
Correct.
Yeah. So our recommendation will be probably somewhere around here.
Yes.
Yeah, around that 3,003-ish range for the higher floors. But let's say you are able to get the lower floors at even more attractive per square foot, that's even better. Okay, so that's for our 1+ study. So next we come to 2-bedroom. Okay, so let's explore what do we have in for 2-bedroom.
So this is the 2-bed premium, BP1, 700 square feet. Basically stack 4 south facing and then stack 7 at northwest facing.
Okay. Then the other one?
Then the other one will be 700 square feet as well, stack 8 northeast facing.
Okay, so actually, right, because there's 2 stacks, so for the BP one, there's actually 68 units. The other one is 34 units. But if I look at the floor plan, to me, I feel it's quite the same. Both of the 700 square feet is actually a dumbbell layout. You walk it in, you have a tuck kitchen, and then we have 1 room and 1 side. Again, it is pretty standard for a 2-bedroom dumbbell layout unit. So nothing much to pick on.
Yeah, actually it's pretty much the same, but does this feel a bit wider to you?
I feel it's the same.
Yeah, maybe if you really want to,
Unless we take your measurement.
Yeah.
But it's okay as long as you know that for the dumbbell layout, the smaller size of the 2-bedroom is actually at 700 square feet.
Yes.
Because the next size up, right, is actually the 2-bed premium plus study at 764 square feet, which is the 2+ study. So this one, actually, if you look at it, it looks a bit different, but it's actually the same. You just have to tilt it. Okay, we look at the BPS1 first. What I like about this 2-bed premium is that you actually have a natural ventilated kitchen.
Oh,
because of the windows over here.
Oh, yes, I see.
So you come in, a little privacy at the foyer area. You have a tucked aside kitchen with your windows for natural ventilation.
Yeah.
You come in, you have a decent space for living and dining area.
Correct. And there's glass over here as well. So the window will be actually quite bright. So the actual kitchen will be actually quite
correct. So then we have got 2 bedrooms with a proper study. Yeah, so this one should be also with windows. So this is always what we call the conventional layout. It's more for like what we have always mentioned, something that is actually very nicely done up for people who are buying for own stay. Because most of the time, some of the buyers may not like the dumbbell layout because of the privacy issue lah. Yeah, so this is something that I like for 764. And then for the other layout, right, BPS2 is actually quite similar. It's just the positioning of the kitchen lah. This one has like a longer foyer. So a bit of the space over here takes up. Then when you come in, you have the kitchen, living and dining. So this one also same, rectangular. And we also have a glass panel. So it's actually
Similar to foyer area.
and how it's laid out lah. Okay, so that's for the 764 2-bed premium plus study. Next, we come to the analysis. So we are using case study of 3 different developments: 19 Nassim, Cascaden Reserve, and Martin Newton. So first thing, we look at 19 Nassim first. Just now earlier on in the 1 plus study, we already seen the 19 Nassim 1-bed and 1 plus study, right? So now we are looking at 19 Nassim 1 plus study and 2-bed. So why do we look at 1 plus study when we are doing the 2-bedroom analysis? Is because 1 plus study size is actually 678 square feet.
Which is actually very close to
Upper house, yes,
2-bedroom.
because the 2-bedroom is 700 square feet. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is actually 678 1 plus study, and then upper house is 700 square feet. That's why
Yes.
you're using that. So for 1 plus study in 19 Nassim, right, is already transacted at 2.12 million. Alright, and the per square foot is about 3,1 plus. 3,001 plus per square foot. Then for the 2-bedroom in 19 Nassim is actually much bigger at 807 square feet. Therefore, the quantum transacted is at 2.7-ish to 2.9. So we take the average about 2.77.
Yeah.
So later we do the comparison.
Okay.
Okay, so now coming to this 19 Nassim 1 plus study. So I put 2 floor plans side by side.
Yes.
So same thing like just now how we explained about the 1 plus study. If let's say I want to have a fair comparison, because 19 Nassim is actually the non-harmonized, alright, and then for upper house is actually the harmonized development.
Correct.
Okay, so what we did was we did a calculation. Now 19 Nassim 1 plus study, 678 square feet, transacted at 2 million. That means buyers already willing to pay 2 million
For 1 plus
yes,
study.
for 1 plus study, or $3,001 per square foot for 1 plus study. Okay, if I were to string this, harmonize it, alright? Okay, I'll use this 678 square feet minus less of a 7%, which is potentially the wall and also the aircon latches. Alright, I will derive the size will be 631 square feet.
Yeah.
Okay, using the same quantum at 2 million divided by the size, my per square foot now instead of 3,001, it will be 3,359. So again, this case study shows that usually with a harmonized development, the per square foot tends to be higher.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the part for 19 Nassim.
Yeah.
Now let us take a look at upper house right now. So just now, as you mentioned, we feel that from what our research, right, likely the per square foot price for upper house can be from around 2,009-ish, all the way to probably 3,005 because of the high rise.
Yes.
Now, if let's say at 2,950, I multiply by 700 square feet, which is upper house, the 2-bedroom 700 man. Yeah, this is my quantum, which is slightly below 2.1.
Yeah.
Alright. So if you look at this, at 2,950 per square foot, right, 2.1 million or slightly lesser, I can get a 2-bedroom in upper house. Whereas buyers or clients have already
Purchase the 1 plus study.
accepted the
19
price.
Nassim.
Yes, accepted the price of 2 million at 19 Nassim.
Correct.
Right? And then, but it's just a 1 plus study. Okay. Now, even if let's say I wasn't able to get the lower floors and the lower per square foot, and if I were to get something at the mid floor and above, probably the per square foot will be up to around 3.2 to 3.3. My quantum purchase price will be around 2.2 to 2.3. I would still feel that this is actually a fair price because then again, we are comparing the 2 million, which is a 1 plus study, and upper house 2-bedroom. And it's actually a brand new development at Orchard Boulevard. So again, I think even up to at 3,005 for 700 square feet, my quantum is at 2.45. But then again,
I think the safe range will actually be between 32 to 33.
Around this range again lah. Yeah, so this is our recommended price range for even the 1+ study and also the 2-bedroom. Reason being, also in terms of the total quanta, it can be a little bit stretched if let's say it goes too high up per square foot.
Yeah. Because you have to resell it to your future buyers your resale buyers in the future.
For the smaller units,
Yes,
right? Okay.
yes.
So this is the comparison between 19 Nasim and Upper House. And then just now we were using 19 Nasim, the 1+ study. We also want to use the actual 2-bedroom, which is 807 square feet. But this time now, instead of comparing with Upper House 700 square feet, I'm actually doing a comparison with Upper House 764
square feet.
which
Yeah, because it makes sense. To be honest, 807 and then 764, if you minus the 7%, it's actually very, very similar.
Correct.
Yeah, in terms of the sizing. And
That's why we're using these two as a comparison. Yeah.
This is even a more direct comparison, I would say, because 807 and then of course 764, we are comparing between 751 and 764. Harmonized, and harmonized.
And then, so again, we actually stated our recommended price over here at 2,950 per square foot. This is actually the quantum price. So remember earlier just now, I was saying 700 square feet. Okay, if I have to go back, right? For 700 square feet, we probably will be, our suggested price is around here, 2.2 to 2.3. Another reason is also because by the time it gets too high a floor up at 2.45, that you may have a chance to get
A 2+ study.
Yes, correct. Because if you look at the price over here, right, is at 3,002, I can get a 764 square feet at 2.44. So this is again a comparison between a higher floor of a 700 square feet versus a lower floor of a 2+ study.
And not forgetting, right, if let's say you're buying for own stay, and plus we are in the Orchard Boulevard area, if you are looking at own stay, I would think that buyers would prefer a traditional layout with a proper study space, a proper kitchen, than a dumbbell layout. So in the future, if you want to resell it, then this will better appeal to your future
In
buyers.
terms of the layout, yeah. And if you were to further look at this, right, so for 19 Nasim is definitely a good development.
Yes.
Yeah, because of the bigger floor plate and then also because of the address and also the location. But if we were to put the address or location aside and we were to look at just the floor plan, I would say that, right, Upper House actually has a competitive edge because over here, just now, if you remember what we mentioned, is the natural ventilated kitchen. But over here, this is actually still a nicely tucked-in kitchen, just that you do not have the extra windows.
I mean, you can enclose it, but this is already done.
Yeah,
correct.
Then this is actually 2-bedroom, but definitely a more spacious and luxurious 2-bedroom because it doesn't come with a study. But for Upper House 764, it's a little bit more compact, but you have actually the extra study. So that's the difference between the two floor plan when we compare the two prices side by side. Okay, so that's the comparison with 19 Nasim. Next, okay, because we also all know that just now, as I mentioned, 19 Nasim definitely in terms of the location is also a very well sought after location. The next one that we're going to compare against with is actually Cascaden Reserve. And why do we actually select this development is because it's just opposite.
It's very close by.
It's just opposite of Upper House, okay? So that's why we are selecting this project to also take a reference point in terms of the transacted price. So again, Cascaden Reserve, right, is actually bigger floor plate. So that's why we are looking at the 1+ study. Why is that so?
700 square feet. Yes.
So because Upper House 2-bedroom is 700 square feet. Yeah. So I think this is also something which is of close comparison. So similarly, we also did the harmonized effect calculation for Cascaden Reserve at 700 square feet for a 1+ study. Transacted, or rather accepted price is at 2 million.
2 million. 2.8.
And the per square foot is at 2859. So today, if I were to harmonize Cascaden Reserve, alright, same thing, I were to use 700 square feet. I less off the 7%, which is the extra space lah, right? So I'll get a 651 livable space. And if I were to use the transacted price of 2 million, I will have a 3072 per square foot.
Right.
So again, to highlight that usually because of the harmonized size, which is smaller, your per square foot tends to be higher. So if Cascaden Reserve 1+ study transacted at 2 million, now I'm comparing with Upper House 700 square feet. Again, we list out the potential per square foot, price point lah, per square foot and the price point. I will be able to derive that 2.065, 2.24, 2.31.
So basically in Upper House, if let's say really we can get something at 295 2.50, we can actually potentially get a 2-bedroom, and Cascaded Reserve 1 plus study is already accepted at 2 million. So I would say it's very, very safe pricing.
It's a very safe price because we very often when we advise our client whether is this price point something which is good for you, is very much depending on what are the accepted pricing around your close vicinity.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's why we are doing this comparison, and it's shown that really 1 plus study 2 million. Today, if you get upper house, also 2 million, you get a 2-bedroom. So that's the comparison with Cascaded Reserve. Okay, last but not least, for the 2-bedroom, we also want to bring in Martin Modern. For the fact that because Martin Modern is in the River Valley area, and we also know that upcoming plots, there are also certain new developments that's in the River Valley area. So from here, we can also do a gauge like, what is the accepted price in that area? What's the difference between the River Valley and also the Orchard Boulevard area, right? The Orchard area lah.
Yeah, because I think Martin Modern will have a very good gauge because now Cascaded Reserve is just close by, but this is further away.
Yes.
But yet, in terms of the price point, is Upper House actually a legit price point to enter, and what kind of gap are we looking at?
Okay, so Martin Modern 2-bedroom, definitely a bigger floor plate. But the transacted price is at 2007, 2008. Close to even 2009.
For resale lah.
Yes, correct. That's a good point because it's actually resale.
Yes.
So means to say resale buyers also can accept this pricing.
Exactly, for River Valley area.
Quantum is actually around that 2.1 all the way to about 2.4-ish.
So if let's say we talk about Martin Modern's 2-bedroom, 764 square feet, transacted at 2.12 million, which is 2774 PSF. Okay, so let's say if we were to again do the harmonization on Martin Modern itself, minus of 7%, we're looking at a 711 square feet.
Again, this is very close to the 2-bedroom
in Upper House.
Correct.
Yeah. So if let's say we were to take the transacted price divided by the harmonized size, what we are looking at is actually
2981 per square foot. This one was 32,000 euro.
Sorry, please.
It's our typo. Yeah.
So it's about close to 3,000 PSF. So if let's say again back to the pricing of Upper House, if we were to get something in this range, we are actually potentially getting it 2.065. And if let's say we were to go in this range, I will also think it's actually still very worthwhile because given the location difference, given the address difference, we're looking at 2.12 in River Valley that is already being accepted. And now we are buying something in the Orchard Boulevard area.
Very similar quantum.
Yes, correct. With very similar quantum, and of course maybe slightly this is insignificant in terms of price gap.
Yeah, right. So like what we always share is really being able to buy in at a new development, but yet the surrounding has already accepted the similar price range.
That actually gives us a very safe entry.
A very good assurance.
Yeah.
Because this is really what has been accepted price. Okay, so that's for the comparison with Martin Modern. So we have looked at 3 different case studies. Firstly will be the 2-bedroom on 19 Nassim, then Cascaded, and also Martin Modern. Yeah. So we are focusing a little bit more on the 1 and 2-bedroom in terms of the numbers calculation because 1 and 2-bedroom also consists more percentage in terms of the total unit mix.
In the whole project.
Yeah. So having analyzed all the different price point and able to understand actually in close vicinity, whether it be in the same area or slightly further area, actually right, the whole area, the price gap is very little. And we are getting something which is actually brand new. So this is actually something which I think, if let's say we are able to get the price at what we have recommended, it will be something safe. But end day, we still want to do a recommended choice in terms of the different floor plan.
I think to add on that point, right? So now we recap again. So for Martin Modern is a resale and it's very insignificant price gap. Now back to like 19 Nassim, Cascaded and everything. These are closer to us, but yet also very insignificant price gap in terms of, I would say almost close by in terms of the pricing. So that makes Upper House actually potentially a very good deal in a way. But of course, you may need to again see what is the end day's pricing.
So also like what we always mention, because this is a new launch, so also depending on your ballot queue, are you able to get the lower floors or are you able to get the middle floor or even the high floor? But definitely we also cannot deny that there will be a certain group of clients who enjoys the view, who likes the view. So willing to pay a premium in terms of the pricing to really get unblocked views. But if let's say in terms of like the more of an investment point of view, because we are potentially still looking at a 1+ study and 2-bedroom, then of course we will go for the recommended price of as close as your neighbors as possible.
Yes.
In a way.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Then coming to our recommended choice, we feel that we still want to recommend the 2+ study.
Yes.
If you're comparing between 700 square feet layout and 764 square feet layout, our first choice, alright, is still the 764 for a couple of reasons. Because of the layout.
Because of the layout, the window, most of the buyers in this area will definitely still prefer a traditional kind of layout for own stay.
And lastly, in terms of price point, the difference is actually a 64 square feet. If I were to take an average price of, let's say for example, 3,002, my total price is actually about 200,000 more for the additional study. So
compare it with the 2-bedroom premium.
Yes, correct. So I think for the central area, about a 200,000 difference is actually, I think, is still a very fair price difference. Because in a lot of, even the outskirt area, we know that easily for additional study, sometimes it can be 100 to 150,000 difference.
Alright.
Yeah. So this one is just a little bit more top up to get something which is more ideal. So that's for our 2-bedroom analysis. Next, we come to our 3-bedroom.
So 3-bedroom, like mentioned, there is only one stack, which is stack 6, north facing. So size-wise, we're looking at 1012 square feet. So this is potentially the view from the higher floor. So now we focus back on the layout itself. It's there's a foyer area, kitchen, enclosed kitchen with here, of course,
the glass
panel, enclosable kitchen set with glass panel as well. Glass panel over here for ventilation, yard, wash closet, and also a home shelter.
Yes.
So this is definitely what a lot of buyers are looking at in terms of if I'm buying for own stay, these are something that they are looking at. Then of course we also have a very decent sized dining area, living, and then of course 3 bedrooms sharing the same facing.
The size is 1012, right?
Yeah, 1012.
Yeah.
Correct.
I think it's a very livable size.
Yeah.
For 1,000 square feet for 3 bedrooms.
Yes.
And then you still have your additional yard space and home shelter for storage and stuff. So it's actually a very nice layout.
I just saw outskirt 1012, that one is non-harmonized.
Okay.
So the size is already very decent. So I will personally deem that this definitely is more spacious.
Yeah.
So that one also comes with flexi room, blah, blah, and yard and wash closet for the helper and things like that. So the similar layout, but definitely I would think that this one will be a more of a spacious in terms of the size itself, usable space, I would say.
So what will be the recommended price if today I want to get a 3-bedroom premium in Upper House?
Okay, so I did state that there is 2950 PSF, but to be honest, based on historically and based on, of course, the developer itself, in this area, because, and especially right in this project itself, there's only one stack of 3-bedroom. Large floor plates in this area is sought after, and plus there is only one stack, so I would, to be honest, I would deem that this one is not too possible.
Not too possible for the starting price of 3-bedroom premium to get below 3,000 per square foot. Alright, correct.
So I would deem that, do you feel that maybe 3.2?
Yeah, actually, you're right. I also do agree in this area. The big floor plates are actually quite highly sought after.
Yes.
That is why, like, if you've seen our past example just now, or case study, Cascaden Reserve, if it's a 2-bedroom, the size of a 2-bedroom is like 900 over square feet. For 19 Nassim, just now you also saw the 2-bedroom is 800 square feet. So tendency more towards the bigger floor plate. But then of course, having said that, in Upper House, we know that it's a harmonized development. So that's why earlier on, the smallest floor plate of 700 square feet and 764 is still very livable.
Yes.
But when it comes to the bigger unit, the expectations of buyers may be a bit different because I'm getting this 3-bedroom premium for own stay. So developer is also aware of that.
Yep.
That's why if I'm the developer, I will also want to place a little bit more premium on the bigger floor plate. And for the fact that just now you have mentioned, it's only one stack. So I only have got that 30 over units. So that's why we recommended that in terms of the initial starting price for a 3-bedroom premium, likely the per square foot might be around a 7 to 10% difference. 7 to 10% more as compared to the smaller unit.
So if let's say we were to say that 1-bedroom or even the 2-bedroom starting price is might be 2,950.
Okay, or even 3,000.
Yeah, if I have a 3,000, this one is about at least 3,002 and above. That's what we feel.
Yeah. So if let's say you're able to get a 3,002 per square foot onwards, your initial quantum will be about 3.2. It can stretch all the way up to 3.7 or 3.8. Again, why is that so? Because now our initial starting price is definitely higher than for the fact that it's 35 story. So the highest floor definitely will go up to realistically about 3,500 per square foot and beyond.
And not forgetting, right, because it's 35 stories and only one stack like I've mentioned again, this is facing the Botanic Garden view. So I would think that the developer will load up based on the different, let's say you clear a certain building or you clear something else, then they will definitely want to load up. Yeah, because there's only one step for them to load in terms of the unit itself. In terms of the pricing itself, right, I think it's good to have a gauge of different levels. Then you can actually compare in terms of different percentage.
So I think in short, it's like, let's say for example, today you want to get upper house 3-bedroom premium for own stay to be a more of affordable quantum. Maybe it's more of the lower floors.
Correct.
Then for those buyers who come in to look at the higher floors, definitely it's like, I like the views.
Yes.
I like the place.
Yes.
I like the address. So I'm willing to pay a premium for that. So it's not so much of whether are we looking at this from an investment point of view, what's the price gap and stuff like that.
Correct.
So that's for our 3-bedroom premium. This is our recommended price. I mean, in terms of what we understand from developers' pricing strategy, it may not start from anything below 3,000. So just to get you prepared for that.
Actually, in actual fact, that previously in our previous slides, right, we also do have stated that, you know, a lot of like even 1990, some of the 3 bedrooms already cross a certain PSF. So that is also the reason why we have a sense of that's how we feel of the PSF.
Because developer will also look at the surrounded accepted price, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So then next, of course, will be the 4-bedroom analysis.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is actually the 4-bedroom suite. Again, it's only one stack.
Yeah.
And the 4-bedroom is of a much bigger floor plate of 2,056 square feet.
With private lift
Yes.
and carport lot.
Yes.
So what does the carport lot? What does the carport lot?
Okay, so from what I understand is that for every of the 4-bedroom suite owner, you have a designated parking space, parking lot. But this parking lot is inclusive in your strata area.
In your basement, right?
I was also trying to imagine, you know the Hamilton Square, right? The parking lot
So
vista.
because I look at the 4-bed, I don't see
The parking lot, yeah. So it's a separation. Apparently, if I were to go back to the site plan, from what I understand, site plan here, if I'm not wrong, the parking space, right, is actually somewhere around here. If I'm not wrong, like.
So designated
That.
for the
For
the 4 bedrooms.
correct, yes.
The bespoke collection. So which is the bespoke collection, because bespoke collection is only for 4 bedrooms.
So then you have your designated parking lot, but then your space of 2,000 square feet is inclusive of that. So your actual livable space in the whole of the unit itself is about 1,009 square feet.
Yeah.
I think it's still decent. Yeah, correct. Okay, so let us look at the floor plan.
Oh, they have Asian kitchen.
So private lift, definitely you need to have a private lift for this area and especially a 4-bedroom.
And okay, but the strange part is, why is the private lift lobby the powder room behind the private lift lobby?
Yes, so this is actually one of the show units. So I've seen it. So once you come out, right, you have a powder room beside. So sometimes you need to rush to the toilet.
Oh, actually. Okay, but I just say like that. But anyway, but is in actual fact, right, is having a powder room in a suite or 4-bedroom, right, is essential. It brings up the level or the status in terms of the layout and things like that.
Okay, so coming out, you will be able to see your dry kitchen area over here. So this is actually the whole space that you'll be looking at again.
Oh, okay. The dining area itself is huge.
It should be each like that. Okay, why is there a void space over here? Is because this space has got high ceiling. But because it's a harmonized project, so the high ceiling area is not counted in the strata area, but you still have a high ceiling over here. And in the show flat, right, how they actually dress up is that their living area they put here, then they have a dining table here. So it's very, very nicely done.
Yeah, because if not the living area here, or if not the living in this area is also possible.
It's also
Because you have
like balconies
or nice chandelier in the middle.
and then high ceiling, right?
Got a lot of imagination.
So then after that, you have a master room tucked away from the rest of the common bedroom, supposedly giving you a little bit more privacy. Then the rest of the rooms are here.
Something to note, they have this walk-in wardrobe, which is I like. Bathtub, I think, is very essential as well, because a lot of this area also, these are things that they look at. And his and her bath. Yeah, the sink.
The sink.
I think they did a good job on this.
The layout is nice. Everything is good. right? Again, because in terms of the recommended price, in terms of the suggested price point, again, it will not likely be starting from anything below 3,000. So if that's the case, likely what we feel, right, is more of the high of 6 million to around 7 million onwards. So definitely this is not so much on whether we want to do a comparison with the surrounding, because it's really something that you like, that you want to buy for own stay.
Yeah.
Not so much on how much rental I can get from here.
Exactly.
Yeah, or how much my neighbor has paid, because it is of a different
Status.
and different group of target audience that we're looking at, right? Yeah. Okay, so actually that's about all for our analysis for the upper house.
Yeah.
The floor plans are pretty straightforward. They do not have a lot of floor plans.
Yep.
Yeah, so pretty okay to understand. So it's more of understanding the price gap between what has been transacted in the closed vicinity and what is going to be upper house suggested price.
Correct.
And from there, we'll be able to gauge. And from the case study, we will have also recognized that actually the price gap is potentially very, very little.
Yep.
Yeah, or even similar pricing.
So if you're a buyer looking at this area like River Valley or even Upper House, Orchard Boulevard area, so you're just thinking, hey, which one should I go for? There are so many plots. What kind of pricing is correct pricing to enter, and is this worthwhile to enter? You can contact any of us, and then, or if let's say you're keen in having a look at Upper House, you can also contact us. We can show you around.
Sometimes too many choices is also something which is quite confusing, and that's why you probably will need a little bit of help, a little bit more of the help in terms of deciding the correct project and based on your requirement. So that's all for our analysis for Upper House. So we should be expecting something coming up next very soon,
Because of the OCR area already.
probably, yeah, because in not just the central area, we also have got new projects coming up, like for example the Canberra area, and then of course next upcoming will be the River Valley and the Zion lots. Okay, so stay tuned for our analysis, and we'll see you soon.
Remember to like and subscribe to our channel.
Yes, please.
Once again, I'm Carissa.
I'm Elaine.
Elaine.
Okay, see you all soon. Bye.